Obviously, there's a lot of heightened nerves right now.
Exactly, Brian. Just as you say, the VIX through 30, that's something that kind of gives you an indication that people are nervous, probably seeking protection. And I guess you don't need to look a lot further than, some of your RBIs recently, and that would be over in the energy space. You and I have talked about oil and natural gas. Oil isn't moving up that fast right now, but natural gas certainly is. Maybe a several percentage move in the pre-market, and I think that's one of the contributing factors to the nervousness that we see right now in markets.
Yeah, and it's not just about oil and gas, although that is obviously the overarching theme. I don't know if you heard Jeff Curry of Goldman earlier in the show basically saying that, listen, Russia and Ukraine, this adds a lot of volatility, but his upward path is higher anyway for natural gas and oil, even outside of what is going on. He said this adds maybe about $2 a barrel to the price of oil. Larry Summers, obviously, he has been basically calling on the Federal Reserve to get more aggressive. How much is this kind of the perfect storm right now, John, between the Fed and what is going on overseas?
Well, certainly the Fed does realize, however, that what's going on overseas is impacting prices and companies' sentiment, if you will. So it's not just consumer sentiment. I was just out in California and kind of shocked to not just see the price at the pump, but pay it. And to actually dig into your pocket and pay $5.25, $5.50 is a shocker. But I think also corporations, when they see what's going on in Ukraine, and the massing of both Russian troops and now NATO, you got to think that corporations decide to perhaps play a little conservative game, defensive, if you will, Brian, and I think that contributes to it as well.
Yeah, so what are you seeing in the options market then at Market Rebellion, John? What are people doing? Are they buying sort of maybe long-dated puts on the S&P? Just throwing in a bit of a hedge. I'm interviewing Mark Spitznagel of Universa Investments in Phoenix tomorrow. By the way, tune in. And, he's sort of this long-tail guy who does these extreme risk scenarios, using options and everything else. What are you seeing in the options market right now?
Well, we're seeing a fair amount of hedging, whether that's hedging in the broader indexes like the IWM, and the S&P 500 in particular, Brian. And when I say hedging, you and I know that means they're buying puts. They're not necessarily hoping the market goes down. They're using those puts, at least my interpretation is, defensively. So I would not be surprised if at that conference you'll be at, that they're not exactly saying that there's a lot of people seeking that kind of protection right now. And boy, that's a lot like, when the weatherman says there's a hurricane coming and you waited till the last minute to buy insurance.